Jeremiah 29:11 is probably the most comforting but most misunderstood and abused Bible verse Christians know by heart. And here's why. In it, God says, "I know the plans I have for you, and those plans are for good things." But the problem is that this text is grossly misapplied. See, in a previous video, I offered 7 crucial steps to show how to arrive at the correct meaning and application of a verse. They included identifying the authors, the audience, the circumstances, and the genre. Then you look to identify the original meaning for the original audience, what the original application was, and from there identify the principles that apply today. I related this to Jeremiah 29:11 to show that the words of the text do not apply directly to Christians today for the following reasons. First, Jeremiah did not write this letter to us, but to Jews in Babylon who had been physically taken captive and exiled there. That the Jews were told to settle down because the exile won't be short, as some were saying, but they were told that there's a covenant promise that God's going to return them to the land. The meaning of this was that God has not forgotten his people in Babylon. It will be faithful and return them to the land after 70 years. So they could take heart and trust in God. But now I want to explore a bit further how this does apply to Christ followers today, because it's actually even better. Again, the thing is, because we're not Jews in Babylon at this point in time, we cannot on the basis of this text say that God's got specific plans to prosper me and then act like it's an open-ended promise for a great life. Remember, the plans that Jeremiah points to refer to a clearly articulated promise just a verse earlier to return the exiles in Babylon back to the land, and in the next couple of verses to restore the fortunes of Judah, and even more, to be found by a people who will once again call on him. But at the application level, we can ask, is there any biblical evidence to support the idea that God has plans for us today as New Testament believers living in the New Covenant era? When we ask that question, man oh man, do things unlock and open up before us. See, this is how, at the principle level, Jeremiah 29:11 points us to even greater promises and plans today. For example, it is his plan for you that you would be further renewed in knowledge and conformed into the image and likeness of Jesus. He wants you to become more and more like Jesus and not the world. And you do this by being transformed through the continual renewing of your mind. Elsewhere, we learn that his plan is that you would be sanctified through how you live. It's his plan that you would be becoming the human you've always been designed to be by living into the life that God created beforehand for you to have. We find out exactly what this means when we look through chapters 4 through 6 of Ephesians. Elsewhere, we learn that, like the Jews in Babylon, we too have unbelievable promises to hold on to, and they're even better. For instance, like the church in Philippi, we can take hold of the promise that God will fully complete the work he's begun in our lives, that nothing can separate the Christian from the love of God in Christ. Elsewhere, Jesus tells his disciples and the crowds of would-be followers that they don't need to worry about life. Really, as a Christian, you don't need to worry about life because you have a Father in heaven who knows what you need before even you do. Just seek him and you can trust that he'll take care of you. Indeed, we find that Jesus will satisfy the deepest needs of those who come to him, that anyone who comes to him will not be cast away, ever. That Jesus will not lose a single person that's come to him or fail to save them fully through resurrection in the final day. So indeed, while we're not in Babylon and the plans Jeremiah refers to are not for us, on a principle level, they point to many plans and promises that God has revealed in the New Testament, which he has for those who are in Christ. We need only to take the time to read and understand them. So here's the challenge. Just take up and read. When you use the proper interpretive steps, you learn that the Bible is not about a secret will or plan that God has hidden from you that you need to find, but a revealed will and plan for the life you are to lead and the person you're supposed to become. Now, I've got more videos planned to talk about exploring God's will and calling in your life. So if you aren't already, consider subscribing so that you don't miss them. If you enjoyed this video, the chances are you'll also enjoy whatever video is being offered right here. If you click that, I'll see you in there.